Welcome to today's episode of Global Power Play. The 20th century was a time of transformation. Empires fell, revolutions swept across nations, and new ideologies reshaped global politics. Out of this chaos, three great powers emerged, each following a different path, yet destined to collide on the world stage. The United States, China, and Russia would shape the modern world through war, ideology, and ambition. But how did they get there?
For over 2,000 years, China stood as the center of civilization. But by the 19th century, its power had faded. Foreign invasions, internal rebellion, and weak leadership brought the mighty Qing dynasty to its knees. In 1911, the last emperor of China was overthrown, ending centuries of imperial rule. But instead of unity, China plunged into chaos.
Across the vast lands of Russia, another empire was on the brink of collapse. The Russian people had long suffered under the rule of the czars. Poverty, oppression, and the disastrous involvement in World War I fueled a growing revolution. In 1917, the people had had enough. The Russian Revolution erupted, the monarchy fell, and the Bolsheviks, led by Vladimir Lenin, seized power. The Soviet Union was born, and with it, a new ideology, one that would challenge the Western world for decades to come. Under Joseph Stalin, the Soviet Union rapidly industrialized, turning into a global power. But progress came at a cost. Millions perished under political purges and forced labor. As Stalin tightened his grip, the Soviet Union prepared for its greatest challenge yet, World War II. Unlike China and Russia, the United States was a rising democracy built on industry and capitalism. By the early 20th century, it had become an economic powerhouse, but remained hesitant to intervene in global conflicts. That all changed when the world went to war.
As the dust of war settled, a new conflict emerged. Not of armies, but of ideologies. The United States stood for democracy and capitalism. The Soviet Union, now led by Stalin, championed communism. The world was divided into two opposing camps, setting the stage for the Cold War.
By the mid-20th century, the world had changed forever. The balance of power rested in the hands of three nations, each with its own ambitions, fears, and strategies. The Cold War had begun, and with it, the struggle for global dominance. But how would this conflict play out? In the next episode, we uncover the battles, crises, and rivalries that would shape the modern world. As the rivalry between the superpowers intensifies, the world is pushed to the brink of nuclear war. The Cuban Missile Crisis brings the United States and the Soviet Union dangerously close to total destruction, while conflicts in Vietnam and Korea become battlegrounds for ideological supremacy. Meanwhile, China undergoes one of its most radical transformations, the Cultural Revolution, reshaping its society and political landscape. In the next episode, we dive into the high-stakes confrontations that define the Cold War and shape the modern world.
That's all for today's episode. The game of global power is only just beginning, and the stakes will only get higher. Stay tuned as we uncover the next chapter in this battle for dominance. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. See you next time.